and the E-Tron GT. And I think, I love you. When Kia launched their Stinger, they somewhat showed that they wanted to get into the performance league with one of their cars. And the Stinger is a good looking car. Fundamentally, I think that's how a car should look. Long swooping lines on a very nice sedan. It wasn't that fast, 370 horsepower, but now its throne has been taken by an electric car. It always starts with this lane assist, and I don't like that lane assist because it really pulls you in every time you drive around it. But what I usually do is that I turn that off. Sometimes you need to dig into the systems in many cars to turn these safety systems off, and that can be a bit fiddly. But you just hold this one for like 2 seconds and then you turn the lane assist off. And with the paddles here, you work with the regeneration. You can set it to level 0 and then you got no braking. Put it to level 1, lean braking, level 2, bit harder, level 3, and then you got max setting. And in the max setting you get I pedal, which means that you only drive with the throttle, and you let off the throttle and it breaks down to a complete stop. And then of course you can change the sound in here as well. Engine sound. All right, engine sound. So turn it off completely, you don't hear anything. And then you got minimal, normal, or amplified. And then you can get into advanced settings, and there you find some different sounds. You can have stylish. That's how it sounds in stylish. Then you have dynamic. That sounds like a very powerful, I don't know, V8, V6 or something like that. And you got cyber. And then you can set your own type of sound, how strong you want it to be. Well, it gives some sort of feeling when you drive, which is somewhat good. I think when you drive actively, it's nice to have a sound that comes together with the power, because you get rather balanced in your driving style. There's something about the look on this Kia EV6. It's very eye-catching when you see it in the front and somewhat from the side of the front. It looks really good. But then you move around it and you see it in profile and it's a bit of a hunchback. And this is very common. It feels like many electric cars go this way. They want to be crossovers or mini SUVs. This one, it could take the throne of the Stinger a lot better if they could make it to a sedan. That's just my personal taste because I like sedans. Then it would be a bit more of a stylish competitor to the Porsche Taycan and the Audi E-Tron GT. The EV6 is a very good car. It has good practicality. It's got a lot of space in the back, and it's just a well-made electric car from Kia. And now they've built up some more of the atmosphere outside and in for this hardcore model. There is an LSD to keep things in check, and there is also adaptive damping through those different driving modes, Eco, Normal, Sport, and the GT mode, which unleashes all these 585 horsepowers. I really like the lights on this car. They look very futuristic, and I like this bonnet that really swoops down as well. So the design overall is very nice, but there are just some subtle things that differentiates this car from the base model, and that is those 21-inch alloys, the neon green calipers, some bumpers. Many cars get those pop-out handles, but these are really great because you get your hand behind it and it's very, very lean to the touch. So I like that one. Very soft. There's no resistance when you open it. That is good. Feels like good quality as well. So we've been driving on different surfaces during the production days when we've been shooting this car. It's been dry, it's been wet, it's been snowy, it's been a bit muddy and everything. And all that power comes so immediate. So when you want to be driving a bit actively, and I always turn the ESP or the stability control off because I want to feel the balance of the car and I want to feel how it behaves. I want to feel the body control of the car. But driving this car in especially GT mode with all that 585 horsepower let loose, ooh, it's sketchy. You really need to be progressive and you really need to be on your toes like a ballet dancer if you want to do a small drift. Because if you just floor it with like a normal petrol car or something, it's so much easier to build up the torque gradually because it comes so much slower and you can get into it leaner, that drift or whatever you want to do. But here everything comes at once. So you need to be extremely quick, but you need to be extremely cautious and very, very lean on that throttle. So that is another way to learn how to drive a very quick electric car, especially when it gets slippery outside. And of course, if you want to drive a bit more in that manner. So you get dual motor, 218 horsepower on the front axle, 367 on the back, so a total of 585 horsepowers. You get 740 newton meters, 0 to 100 in 3.5 seconds, and a top speed of 266 kilometers an hour. The range in this one is about 100 kilometers less than the base one or the long range one. So it's 424 kilometers. You don't get that far often, but that's what they claim. So it's a 77.4 kilowatt hour type of battery with 800 volt architecture. And you can fast charge this with 233 kilowatts. It weighs 2,175 kilos, so you really need to know where to brake when you gathered your pace, because this is a quick car. So you get a little frunk in here, but it's only like 20 liters, I think. So that's not much. It's almost a bit pathetic. They could have just skipped it. But of course, you can put some stuff here, some tools maybe. Anyhow, there's a frunk. The back, really, you can only tell that it's a GT looking at that one. I don't think the back looks that very nice. It's very futuristic, so it has its own style. It looks fun. You get decent storage back here. I think it's approx 430 liters. You can shove your back seats forward to load some more stuff, and then you got some extra storage for your charging cables back here. Plug this one in here, and then you can charge like a microwave, your electrical bicycle, or whatever you need to charge. You can also charge another car if one of these are stranded. The head-up display, I must say it's not as good as in my Sorento, really, because it feels like it's squeezed together in some way. I don't know if it's the curvature on that screen that it's being projected on, which then projects it up on the windscreen. But it's there, and it's not like it's bothersome. It looks good. You also got that little dead spot symbol there, which warns you, which is good. And then you get into normal. Normal is quite good, you know, you get that normal rapid feel, but it's not too much, it's not too jumpy and edgy. You get into sport mode. I like the sport mode, it's quite linear. It's not too mental, but you know exactly where you are and where the power is. And then of course, you get into GT mode. And then it just pushes on. It's really quick. Just flies off when you push it. Also like the space here, you don't really see that space, and it's quite difficult to put some stuff down and then trying to bring it out. It looks really nice, very space-like, and it's also a bit of a stretch to put the USB or the USB-C cables in there. Maybe you can get some help from your passenger. Inside the EV6, it's very interesting, and it looks very futuristic, but at the same time a bit retro, like a retro futuristic look. I like it. And also, it's very spacious in here. I like the gaps between here. It's like a spaceship in some way. You get a lot of storage down here. Bit fiddly to put your charging cables in. But up here, you got the command center. The 2-spoke steering wheel is really, really nice as well. Very sporty, very grippy, a bit thick. And I like how you have this neon green stitching here. And all the buttons as well. You need to familiarize yourself with the system and how it works, because it's a lot. It can be a bit too much in the beginning, but I own 2 Kias myself. I got the latest Sorento, so the system is about the same. So I find myself at home immediately. And also with the quality feel of everything, I think it's just there. It just works, a very rigid feel in all the buttons. Here's a bit new. You can change this touch. It's not like it's haptic. It's just a good response in it. You can change from having your menu here with the setup, media, navigation and everything, so you get quick into these. Then you can change it and you get into the system where you change your ventilation, heating and stuff. Works okay. You know, you want to set yourself apart a bit and be a bit special with your car, especially in this electric era. But this works. I think it's intuitive. But I think that the screen here, it could have been a bit sharper and a bit quicker. It takes some time from pushing something and then getting into it. A bit sluggish there. You got your regenerative paddles back here. And these seats, I must say, for being, you know, cup bucket seats, if you want to call them cup, but they feel like cup seats in some way. They hold you strictly in place when you drive fast because you need these. But at the same time, they're very comfortable and I don't feel like sitting in a very sporty seat, which is rather thin. Looks good as well with these stitching around. So the ambience in here is just great. You get a little sunroof here. I like the screen here as well. It's just one piece, but it's divided into 2 screens. One for your cluster in front of you and one for the navigation and the other stuff. And these screens are 12.3 inch. And here is also some attributes of that extra sportiness up here, which looks good. And it lights up here when it's dark. So it's a very cozy feeling in here. You got your induction charger here and very good storage all around. So that is generous. And also a very big glove compartment as well. Look at that fabric holder for your instruction manual. And in the safety department, it has a lot, you know, emergency braking, lane assist, automatic high beams, etc. I think you can add some more safety features if you would like. On the steering wheel, you got the drive mode. So you got Eco, Normal, Sport, and then you got this neon green button here. And you push that and you unleash all the power. And also when that is activated, you can turn off the electronic stability control and then you hold these 2 paddles for 3 seconds and you get drift mode. And that drift mode is, that is wild. Flies away. So the steering is really nice. It's very spot on and it also gets sharpened up when you push this GT mode. And you can feel it. It really reacts great to your inputs. I've noticed that some people complain about these seats, these sport seats, as I call them bucket seats because they look like that, and I like to call them bucket seats because I think that feels more sporty. I must say that they're one of the most comfortable racy sport bucket seats that I've been sitting in for a while. But I think a lot of people have been talking about this base. It's a bit short and I think it's a bit of a strange angle to it. It should be more upright underneath your knees, or that you could adjust that. You feel that when you drive for longer, and but I haven't really noticed anything. I think they are comfortable. So this EV6 GT has considerably more power than the regular EV6 models. It has faster steering rack, stiffer and more sportier suspension, larger brakes and stickier tires. But now we're driving on winter tires, of course, but they're still the same size. But that's what it is. Let's do a launch here, 0 to 100. 1, 2, 3. 0 to 100 in 3.5 seconds. And the top speed is 266 kilometers an hour. It's fast. And it's always that special feeling when driving an electric car, that it feels like it's relentless. It just keeps on going, especially when you're up in this 500, 600, 700 horsepower segment of electric sports cars. And when you got four-wheel drive, of course. And the thing is that it's also faster than a Porsche Carrera 4 and just as fast as a BMW M4 all-wheel drive. But it's not the same price. Then, of course, if you take these on a circuit and you really want to push it, well, you know, a good driver behind the wheel on this one, you'll chase these for sure. But then the weight comes in, 2,175 kilos. That is a lot. So when braking down and need to push it into corners quickly and around corners, can be a bit of a job. But that's with all electric cars. But some mask it better than others, and it would be nice to compare this to one of my favorites, the Taycan GTS, or maybe the Turbo. But that GTS, it really hides all that weight in a way that you almost don't think is possible. But this one does a really good job at doing that as well. I think that when you're up to speed and you push it in and you brake it down, I think the brake feel is alright, but to some degree it's a bit lumpy sometimes. It feels like it needs that regeneration in some way. But of course it's not bad. It's not bad. You get a lot of great feeling from it. So Kia claims that you can get 424 kilometers out of this 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, and that the consumption is about 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Sure, maybe you can reach that consumption if you're very careful in the eco mode, but you know, in a car like this, you just want to push this mode. You want to feel that acceleration, and you know, when you have some on board, of course you want to tickle them a bit. But I must say that driving around in eco mode and in town, the steering is extremely light and nice. It's really nimble, but it's direct. But it really takes all these type of pimples in the road really gracefully. And that is rather impressive with this sporty chassis that it's got. So it's a very comfy cruiser to drive around in. And it can be extremely relaxed. But on the other end, when you just push that one, which sits on the other end of the wheel, well, then you can just go bananas. You can only keep on going bananas and driving real fast and ambitious in GT mode above 70% battery capacity. Because when it falls under 70% of battery capacity, well, then you don't get all that power. And in its GT mode, it really behaves like a hot hatch four-wheel driven car. The balance is just great. Step into this corner and you get that drift mode going. When driving around, you really come to think of rivals, and you might take the Porsche Taycan Turbo, for instance. You know, it's more than double the price, but similar performance. Then you know that they're onto something really good here. You know, what do you want? Do you want massive power, or do you want range? Well, that's up to you. This is more of a fun car. It's more of a toy, something you can take to the track days and really beat the out of other sports cars. And that in itself is cool. Together with a brand like Kia, well, that is attitude.